Man, for the record, you always want to be recording, and then when she's like, "Are you recording me?" You be like, "I can delete it if you need me." I can turn it off. I didn't know. I thought you knew. I thought you was texting. Well, I was. So it's okay for me to text the picture, but it's not okay for me to record the 24 pictures a second.
Hey.
I done that shit. Chris, real talk. Real talk. Tell the truth. Haven't you looked down at your phone before and got a POV picture of a naked woman?
Why not? Why not?
And she smiled for the picture. Sure's with an S.
Thank God this is on Patreon. So nobody can sit here and hold this conversation against us. You will not be canceling Delvin Cox today. Fuck you.
Well, no, it's nothing to cancel. I mean, it's that 14-year-olds do that. That ain't even like adult talk.
You'd be surprised shit people get canceled for.
Listen, let me tell you something. Not today. Ain't nobody canceling no niggas today. And on what? This is Black America's birthday. I'm gonna tell you what I told Chris. And a lot of the shit I'm gonna say to people sounds like, did that nigga just say what I think he just said? And then one of these days you're gonna look up and be like, you remember that dude, that famous one, the one that got famous that everybody hated? But now I'm realizing now he knew some stuff. Here's one of the things. Barack Obama was not the political awakening that everybody wanted to say that it was. Barack Obama was non-white people's promise to white people. If you just give us a chance, if you just give us, we'll be so good, we'll go to all your schools and we'll do everything right and we'll be straight heterosexual, but not too heterosexual, and we'll play a little bit of basketball at the White House, but we won't be like NBA level good. We'll just be good enough to beat literally every reporter that challenges him. Him and Arnie Duncan, the tall white dude, could literally beat every, and we'll stop it right there. We won't be too exceptional, but we will be when needed. And then when like Ebola shows up, we'll handle that shit, but you won't even have to give us no praise for that. We won't even if you please just give us a chance. That was Barack Obama. Kamala Harris is like, yeah, we did that shit already.
If you didn't notice, I'm on this Patreon exclusive episode with the ever popular Tony Aaron II and Chris Carthern.
Chris is popular. I am
controversial. That's what
to be honest with you, people got to give a damn what you say before you can have a controversy. We ain't even there yet. You know what I mean? I can't even get like responses back on Mexican Tinder. I'm not famous by any shit.
What the fuck is Mexican Tinder?
Well, I live in Mexico. That's Mexico right there. And so I'm on the ocean. That's the Atlantic Ocean, literally, right over there. I live in Mexico. I live in Playa del Carmen, and so I get like, you know how women be like, I got dressed up tonight, but I ain't coming up for no men, right? You see what I'm saying? But I'm straight. But if you be like, oh, you a lesbian, it's cool. They be like, yeah, I ain't say I was a lesbian. But I gotta be a lesbian, right? And you're like, all right, I don't understand what you're saying. My bad. I thought you was, but cool, right? It's like that. What'll happen is women be on Bumble or Tinder and they'll like me, and I'll be like, oh shit. First of all, do I look like a nigga that speaks Spanish? No, I do not. So you knew when you clicked on my face that this was not gonna be a hola situation. So when I hit you up, with hello, motherfucker respond. You like me. You know what I'm saying? On Bumble, you can't even send the women the message first. So I get all these matches on Mexican Bumble, and then they just sit for 24 hours and they don't ever say nothing to me because they then, after we match, go check my page and see I don't speak Spanish. And then it was like, well, I mean, I can't if I take a black dude home to my Mexican parents, or even just post a picture on Facebook with him, and that nigga does not speak Spanish, they're gonna know that he is fucking me, and that's the only thing that's going on. And so that it dies like that over and over and over again. Now, if I was famous, they'd be like, well, he's mom. I mean, it's different. Yeah. So that's controversial. See, that's me being controversial.
Sound like you need to move to Miami. That's what it sounds like. Because
I'm going back to Atlanta.
I have 2 Spanish kids from a Spanish Nicaraguan woman. We are no longer together, but that shit happened. So
I was gonna say good for you, but then
Well, I get to keep my money. So
I'm gonna ask you a question though. How did your kids manage to be Spanish and not black? Did she like evict you from the like?
Oh no.
The baby making.
Let me explain this to you. My kids recognize their Hispanic heritage whatsoever.
Okay.
If you ask them, they are black. I'm like, hey.
Well, that's not even their choice. People forget, and this is actually contextual to Kamala's situation right now.
Yes.
The rule. This is literally the rule created by white people. If their white children had a speck of black blood, they were black.
Yes.
So the white kids, the kids that like, say for example, let's say we're talking you're a third generation slaver, and let's say you're a second generation mixed kid. So your parent, mother or father, by the way, raped one of the slaves. Then they had you, and then that child. Then they had your parent, and that child had a baby with another white person. Even then, that resulting quarter black child was black. And where they went in the hierarchy was all the pure whites, then that quarter black white, then the house slaves, and then the field slaves. And so, and again, the house slaves might be the half whites, or usually were. So we have this whole thing of like now, generations later, it's the same thing applies because you still got all of the suffrage and all the stuff you put on us for having a drop of black blood or a drop of non-white blood. So, of course, your kids might not even like you, but they like, we reach you. It's one thing, Daddy. We are black. We've been outside before. We know,
Chris,
we're
let me
black.
tell you about Tony. The first time we recorded, he said I had no goddamn listeners.
No, I didn't. That was a joke.
Now he said my kids don't like me.
Don't love himself.
Them little niggas don't like you, damn it.
It was hypothetical. I said they may not even like you. But no, I'm just saying, like, we got, like, I just want to touch on that because, motherfucking, like, racists is teeing themselves up. Tucker Carlson last night purposefully mispronounced Kamala Harris's name. So only when he was talking to the Democratic person, specifically when he was talking to the person that was there to represent the Democratic Party, so that they would very politely and very non-aggressively correct him. And then he'd go, what does it matter if I know her name? Why I gotta know her name? And he literally turned him mispronouncing her name on purpose into him doing it 2 more times and then saying, and I quote, or I couldn't watch the whole thing with the sound on, so I'm quoting what I read that he said, which was, see, this is an example of how the radical left doesn't want you to be able to criticize Kamala in any way. You purposefully and racistly mispronouncing her name is an example of your inability to be able to criticize her.
Let's call him Fucker Carlson.
Let's call him Mama didn't tell you about that night with the trucker Carlson.
That motherfucker got a punchable face. I do not like him at all.
He does. He also has lawyers that know he has a punchable face.
Yes. I don't have any money, so I can take that chance.
Well, the thing is, they won't prosecute you. They'll prosecute all black people. That's
true.
Damn.
But just the same way, Kamala has Asian blood. She's Indian, also. But in most people's eyes, they just say she's black.
But here's the thing, too, that's deep that she's not going to say because it would be too controversial, but it's true. Black includes South Asian Americans.
It does.
It does.
Because, by the way, when you come here as a slave and then you come here as an indentured servant and then you come here as a broke motherfucker, well, you know what we're going to do to y'all? We're going to put you all in the same situation. And by the way, it was a couple of non-black slaves. You get the same treatment as everybody else. Fuck this nigga and have his baby and produce some more wealth for me. So at that point, because you did us like that, and your rules were, if a drop of that blood is black, you're black. I don't give a damn whatever else is in there because it makes it easier for you to discriminate against. Then Kamala can be saying I am South Asian while saying that in the context of saying I am black. It's not a deletion of anything else. It's just saying that under that apron, we all suffered and we continue to. And yet there's not a single person literally in the entire national ecosystem of these conversations that will set the record. Not set it straight because it had to be a record to begin with and there isn't one. Somebody's got to be like, look, this is what's going on. This is what this shit means. Black does not mean African American. If it meant African American, you think you would give us a synonym? No, nigga. It ain't a synonym. It means something different. Black means I ain't white. That's what it means.
Yeah.
That's why we opened it up to black and brown. Do you think brown means something different than black? Really? No. Brown motherfuckers got the same problems black people got, and they're problems that are nowhere near as bad in white communities. We all black, period. That's your rules. Don't try to change the shit now that a brilliant motherfucker showed up and made you self-conscious about it.
Chris, you got anything to say? Can we go let Tony talk the whole damn show?
Hey. Tony's on one, man. He's ready. And then we've been listening to all this. We've been listening to all this bullshit. They talk about Kamala. They trying to say this shit. Oh, well, her record. I've had black people come at me today. They don't know. So here's the thing. I have black people because I've been posting things like, look, these are Kamala's issues. I have made a graphic and everything.
By the way, that graphic was dope. That looked nice.
And I was
proud of you for that.
Hey, you know how we do quality.
Yes.
Right? So everybody said, well, she put all these people in jail and she's against marijuana. It's like, oh, she has been she was the most progressive DA in all of California. In the country, technically. But let me hit you with something. When the fuck did black women start making the laws around this bitch? You honestly believe she gonna rise to power and flaunt the law as the AD? If the law is y'all niggas can't smoke yet, that's the law. Why are you projecting what your white senator and your white governor and your white fucking mayor and everybody else have done onto literally the only black woman in that job in the history of the country? The majority of the people fell below to misdemeanors and they did not serve time.
She's the only person who put in place the reconciliation program of rehabilitating that system and diverting it from maximum punitive outcomes into reintegrating those people into the community.
For nonviolent crimes, they had the Back on Track program where she helped people get jobs.
Gave it a catchy nickname and everything because she knew she was going to run for president.
Get people jobs. Okay. People not, but this is not what's being discussed. This is not what's being discussed.
And it ain't even no excuse because even on the radio, every time you say Kamala Harris's name, Back on Track could be a goddamn song you're gonna play next. That is literally designed to be able to be talked about. So there's no reason that people shouldn't know about it.
Right. Again, also, she fought against human trafficking. She stopped prosecuting young girls that were forced.
People forget that shit is new.
Into prostitution.
There's still states right now. What's the young black woman who literally just got released? They knew that she killed the dude who was her sexual trafficker, and they literally still put her in jail. It wasn't like they debated the context of that murder. They knew he was her sex trafficker, and she killed him for her freedom. It wasn't, but because he wasn't actively trying to murder her when she murdered him, then it's punishable by life in jail. And she literally I don't think she's actually officially out yet, but I think like the verdict that she needs to be released.
No, she's not. She's not out yet.
Yeah. Crazy. I'm sorry I don't know her name. It's too many goddamn people to around.
People are dragging her through the mud. I've had literally people messaging me like, oh man, I didn't know this stuff. I'm like, read.
Why did you open your mouth?
Read. Because they just hear pundits say one thing.
No, they don't. Don't even call them what they are. They hear white pundits. They hear
racist.
Let me tell you something else that's crazy that people don't think about, okay? When you turn on the news right now today and you listen to people, even if they bring on black people to talk about Kamala Harris or whoever, you need to distrust literally every person they bring on because every single one of those people were people they were bringing on before the movement. So how did they get on? They didn't get on like in the context of I'm a BLM person or I'm a this, I'm a that. They got on playing the game. So their base of perspective as it pertains to what to and to not put on TV is still from that perspective.
Yeah.
See? So like the black people, let alone the white people, the Hispanic people, everybody is playing this game. And again, now by the way, you know who you don't see a lot of? As much as you probably think about, D-Ray. I don't know where the fuck he been. I also don't see you know, Medi Talks and these people, the new leaders of the movement on the ground for BLM, etc. Because again, they're not vetted. You see what I'm saying? They're not a part of that community yet. We don't, and it's literally couched like, well, we don't know if they're gonna drop an F-bomb on live TV. You know, the FCC ain't done a goddamn thing to Donald Trump. You think they worried about you?
Facts.
Come on now.
I mean, think about this. Kamala has been the main one pushing since April, trying to get people $2,000 a month, right?
Now, you know what's crazy? Every time she does something right, they go, well, but that was political strategy. I don't give a fuck. If it passed, it wouldn't be. If y'all niggas got up behind it, if white senators voted for it, it wouldn't be political strategy. It would be law.
Mm-hmm. And people
but with Elizabeth,
$600 a week, right?
I love Elizabeth Warren, but when Elizabeth Warren puts out plans, they're literally considered plans. When Kamala Harris puts out plans, it's a ploy to appeal to the people so that she can be VP. See, when the data comes out and Kamala Harris is literally between number 1 and number 4 most progressive senator in the entire United States, some graphs show her as literally having a perfect progressive score. Others have her tied with Bernie Sanders in 3rd, 4th. That is literally, there is not one single piece of data that puts her anywhere between most progressive senator to tied with Bernie Sanders. That is it. It's her, Elizabeth Warren, Senator Markey, and Bernie Sanders.
All right, explain to people who don't know what that means.
It means they take the bills that were, you know, put on the House floor and the bills that were written, etc. They see who voted what on them, who signed onto them as co-sponsors, etc., who indicated their support, yada, yada, yada. And then they grade those bills based upon whether they're progressive, conservative, etc. And then, so, okay, we got 20 progressive bills, 0 conservative bills, because their goal is to just, the country is fine for oligarchy right now, so don't do a goddamn thing unless we want to, you know, assert a bill to make it worse. So maybe they got 3, let's drag you further into this hell that you claim to believe in, but don't act like you're anywhere near it. Atheists don't believe in hell, but if you were a Christian, you believe in that shit, you should probably act like you feel them flames on your ass from time to time. So anyway, they got their 3 hellbringer bills. Liberals got their 20 different, solutions bills. And then they say, okay, well, where did Kamala fall on these bills? Where did Bernie Sanders fall on these bills? And another thing, she has if I'm not mistaken, she has the 4th lowest score of voting against Trump. She votes against Trump 93.3% of the time. Okay, so again, if we want to talk facts, the fact is, even if she only did it to run for president, she did it. And all the motherfuckers that she was being compared to in that data was running for president too, and she still came out more liberal than them. Everybody knew that the shit was being recorded. It's govtrack.org. It's on there. It's a government fucking, like, it's there. Check it out. Everybody knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. So whether it's strategy or otherwise, if it's just signaling or whatnot, she is signaling to you. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something that everybody's gonna relate to, and everybody's gonna register as the truth. And I want you to remember, I'm gonna upgrade you. The 300 of you that heard it here, is that good? Because 3,000. What should I say? Because I don't want to hear no more passive aggressive. Okay? The joke is you want to say the number small now so that you can reference it as being larger later. That's why I always say the numbers are much smaller than they actually are. Okay? But anyway, I'm going to tell y'all the realest shit you're going to hear about Kamala Harris. Period. Kamala Harris did what she needed to do to be the first black woman to do all of the things that she has done. The first non-white woman. And by the way, also the first woman to do all of the things she's done. White women had a huge head start. They literally removed and excluded black women from the voting rights movement, for suffrage, and black women still beat their asses into the White House. Now, who did it? Kamala Harris. How'd she do it? By doing what she had to do. Now, here's the thing. Kamala will do or say, would have done or said whatever she needed to do to be where she needed to be to attain the ability to lead the party. And how she's going to lead is how black people vote. Kamala Harris is a black voter. Black people are the most liberal voters in the history of the United States and the most consistent voters in the history of the United States. It's not even remotely close, no matter, I don't mean just by racial breakdown, by literally any mass breakdown Black voters are more liberal than any other group, period. Okay? Our leaders, when we're given, support and power, we show up, we vote at a higher percentage than any other group. Okay? Now, when our leaders get support and power, when Joe Biden has a little toothache or a flu or a stomach ache or a little bit of that, what we call old age, because he's old as a motherfucker, she's gonna show up and be like, I ain't gonna wait for y'all to finish that paperwork. I don't even need the credit for this. I'm gonna govern like a black voter. Period. Yes. She's gonna govern like she's the black woman at the cookout, and you and your two Mexican or Hispanic or whatever the fuck they are, Nicaraguan kids show up, and you don't know her, and she has extra food, and you looking over there like that smells good as fuck, and she walks over and hands your black ass 3 plates. That's how she's gonna govern, because she's a black woman. What the fuck else she gonna do? Do you think she wanna hear her phone ring ski-wee when she do some stupid shit in the White House and have to deal with a whole bunch of entitled, wanna-be badass Howard ladies calling, talking about, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? What do you mean you pardon Trump? She ain't doing none of that silly shit. So again, how is it we be like, man, our senator ain't racist. He just needed a couple of the, people who are on that line to vote for him. That's why he ain't really with us. But we know when he get in office, that white man going, we could trust, Bernie Sanders, even though his only answer to Black Lives Matter is economic justice. But we gonna be able, when he president, he gonna help us out though. How can we do that with them? But with Kamala, with the woman that we know that went to the women that have brought your ass the food, when you just walked by the park and it was a cookout going down. When your neighbors were having a family reunion and there's a whole bunch of niggas in the house and you could just walk in as somebody who ain't never one time ever been a part of that Jones family struggle and you can get a plate. What in the fuck makes you think when one of those women becomes vice president and soon to be president that she ain't gonna govern just like she runs the goddamn cookout? It's complete bullshit, period.
So let's talk about it. Let's bring this up. Why do you think so many black men, all I've been saying this shit is men.
Well, no, they don't. First of all, you only hearing from the people that's talking, and that's talking loud, and that's talking to you. But do it this way. Let's weight those votes. Let's weight those opinions. All of the dudes that's been talking at you put together wouldn't win an argument with me about their own personal life that I have no knowledge of. They are fucking stupid. That's why they don't have a following. That's why they are whoever the hell they are, and that's most especially why they are not who they are not. They are not the VP selection because they ain't fucking Kamala Harris. They ain't on this show right now because they don't deserve to be. So keep that in perspective. Like I said, weight that opinion with the value that is lacking from that opinion.
But yeah, but what is that opinion? What is the opinion? What are they actually selling you?
It doesn't fucking matter. You don't even need to listen. Let me tell you what my relationship is to the stupid. I tell you and you listen or you don't. We don't converse. I do not converse with you, period. I'm leading. You either follow or you can have another 4 years of Trump. You can have another fucking 6 years of what's that nigga's name in Atlanta that I want to kick in the goddamn face? Kemp.
Oh,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Whatever. It's that simple. We're not going to have a dialogue. You're not going to say, okay, I'm going to give your intelligence 5 minutes and then you're going to give my ignorance 5 minutes. Nigga, no, the fuck. I am not. Shut up and be led, or, don't either. I could teach you how to fish or you could starve. It's that simple. Because I genuinely don't care about your stupid. And I'm telling you, like, this whole thing of, like, going back to the cookout analogy. I'm going to be quiet after this, but this is real.
Nigga, you lying. You can't be quiet after this.
I am. We don't have to give everybody in the community a plate.
I agree.
If you the same nigga that shot up the cookout last time, not only do you not get a plate, you gonna get your motherfucking ass whooped. If anybody within a goddamn country mile sees you anywhere near the cookout.
That's a fact.
So again, how in the fuck is it that when we don't, what black people don't realize is, anywhere we're included, that's where the fuck the cookout is. So the cookout is going back to the goddamn White House. And if somebody got something to say about it, it's like, nigga, you know what? I listened to your bullshit while Trump was in office. But this is our shit now. You shut the fuck up or I'm gonna hit this block button. I'm gonna put my foot in your ass. It's that simple. It is literally that simple. I got nothing for you because you don't deserve nothing from me. It's that simple.
I love you, Tony.
Woo! You gotta give him one of them, one of them Ric Flair woos at the end of that shit. Gotta.
I love that Tony's so fired up and passionate, and he's right.
And he's right. Look, here's the thing. Find me one person that is more intelligent in one room, whatever room Tony's in. More intelligent. No. More intelligent, or informed, harder working, more confident. I mean, one person with one of those qualities, not all four. I'll challenge anyone out there. One of those.
The thing I like about Tony, I'm going to compliment you, Tony.
Okay.
The fact that Tony always comes with fucking facts and data to back up every fucking thing he says. There are so many people who so often just say shit just to be fucking saying shit, just to be shouting. Like, one of the stupidest things I've heard is Kamala's a cop. What the fuck does that mean?
Let me hit you with the real on that, because we were talking about this last night. It's very simple, man. A lot of times, so here's what's crazy. There's this concept I'm gonna try to get out there for people called second order thinking. Second order thinking means thinking about all of the consequences of an action. So it's basically when you say, and then what? As many times as possible. If somebody's like, let's go to, like, a second order thinking about a date is if a woman is like, you wanna go to the movies? Like, we're being progressive, she asked you out. And then you go, okay, and then what? That is second order thinking about the date. You see? It's literally that simple. And she's like, I don't know, man, maybe we could also get some food. Well, look, I got a lot of information here. This ain't a tryout date. This is like a I like you date, because she wants to make plans beyond just going to the movies, right? But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't asked, and then what? So again, now I'm acting out what's called second order thinking, and I'm also pulling her into second order thinking. And now we're already building momentum for a situation that could have just been some awkward shit if I'd have been like, oh yeah, movie, cool. Go to a movie, right? No, let's not do that. Let's respond like we're intellectuals, like we're actually, intelligent. We try to be on some shit. So let's apply that to what we see going on with how people talk about what's, the effects of the world. It's very simple. It's anti-intellectual country, right? So you have to accept uninformed opinions from people who want to call themselves experts, because if you respect an expert opinion having detail, then you would expect all other opinions to have detail, including your own, your child's. When you say, oh, you can't go to that skating rink today. Well, hold up. If the kid is coming to you with receipts, which they will, because that's how children, they haven't been taught yet that to not provide detail, right? It's like, well, no, I mean, everybody else is going, and I was good. I did my chores. You told me, like what? Now it's just like, well, just because I said so. You have to teach them that the details don't matter. That's anti-intellectual, right? And again, to get away with that with the kid, you would then have to accept that from your authority figures, to not be a hypocrite. That's the vicious circle, where we extradite and we exercise, meaning exercise, not exercise, but we push out intellectualism in general as a means of control. And then you know what that does? Because what you give is what you get. That leaves us as the unintellectuals who are easily controlled, because that's the system we want. That's how we parent. That's how we friend. That's how we talk. And that's why I'm saying to y'all, don't give anyone who is doing any of that any air. Because if you do, you're saying that anti-intellectualism or a lack of detail, a lack of reason has value, when it doesn't. It literally is the purposeful absence of that value. Shut that shit down, man.
So let me ask this then. Should we teach others to look for the right information and knowledge in terms of?
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what I do on Instagram. Every day I'm posting information. And that's what people.
Technically, you're bringing them information. He's saying, should we teach them to?
Well, yeah, well, I'll get requests from people asking how I found the information, where my sources are and stuff like that, and I provide all that type of information to people, because you'd be surprised. I'm like, the internet is vast and wide. It's not hard. It really isn't hard.
You have a supercomputer in your pocket.
Yes.
We don't have to go to the library anymore.
Wikipedia, literally. Did you know since the invention of the internet, the amount of information available to the average human being has doubled roughly every 18 to 24 months?
That I do know. It's shocking that we don't take advantage of that.
There's no reason not to be informed anymore. There's no reason.
It's not, no, there is a reason. And I just told y'all the reason. The reason is because you don't want to have to value people coming at you who are informed. See, again, back to the kid, because a lot of the things that adults do wrong are much more easily painted with how they treat children, okay? If a child, if you're specifically in situations where the adult is wrong, the very first thing you do is tell the child they don't know anything and they can't know anything. It's not possible that they can know more than you. But that's not true, because first of all, they are literally experiencing academia every day and you are not. So just by default, there are actually plenty of things they will know that you don't know, okay? And that's the way you should talk to them, but we don't. It's, oh, you just a kid, you don't know shit. Again, I literally just read a book today in school that you haven't read or haven't read in 20 years, so I do know things you don't know. But when you do that, you're immediately saying, what I'm gonna do is take value out of the conversation so that only power is left. That is the reason why all of this other shit is happening, because that is the goal.
I agree.
People are like, oh, we need to change the world. Change yourself. Change you. If you listen to me right now and you think I couldn't be that nigga's friend, you got problems. I'm living on the beach. My life is what you see these tourists walking by. They're stupid because they're not, physically distancing and shit. But the ocean is right there. I'm living here. This nigga is here now. You listening to me from a place that is not on the ocean. I don't give a damn if you want to be my friend, but if you ain't backflipping thinking you would like to be my friend, you thinking about it wrong.
Let's talk about two black people. He live in Mexico. I live in Bangkok, Thailand.
Niggas not just here now. Niggas here and there now.
Yes. And that is black excellence in a short sentence. That's the best way you can describe that.
Yeah. But again, it's like, my point is, if you listening to these people talk and you're not thinking, I told somebody recently on a beyond the frame, a behind the scenes look at how we make our movies. I told my co-composer, that my goal, one of my life goals, is to seek out, as I define them, and find great people, and then, even though as impossible as it may be, try to befriend them really try to work with them or befriend them if at all possible. Usually I fail. Right? Recently, there's been actually, what are we talking about? 3 or 4 different celebrity people or whatever who we're talking to and, building relationships with, but that's very recent. And so, but the reason that's my goal is because the greatest measure of a person is how they feel when they're around great people. If you feel overshadowed, if you feel insecure, if you feel like this person's vast knowledge has to somehow immediately be invalidated or whatever, you fucked up. It ain't them. Right? If you look at a black woman rising to the literal highest office on the planet in the time when the most leadership is needed, and you think anything other than good things, you are the problem. Period. Full stop. I'm not saying this as that's not a campaign message. That is me literally telling you, the individual human person, have fucking issues that need to be worked out on the ASAP. Because you're going to fuck around and sleep with somebody and end up with a daughter, and you're going to treat her every day like you treated Kamala the last 24 hours.
That was very well said. Well, let's get into some happier moments for this. What was your first thought? Because I know some of your first thoughts. We messaged each other when it happened. What were your thoughts when it happened? When the first time we got the news?
Look, I was in the office.
Government job.
Government job in the office. Came in. Fuck yeah. That was my. I was like, yo, like I'm about to walk in. Like I just hit the walk off.
I was about to say he hit that corner 3.
I hit that walk off
game, nigga.
That's what it felt like. Game.
Get off my court.
next.
What are we talking about here? And I'll do it again. What? That wasn't luck, nigga. Run it back. Let's go. You know? It was. Woo. That's how the. I'll tell you right now. My first time when he told me that shit, I was like, it's inappropriate that they even keep you at work. Because you only going. Imagine if somebody came over and like tried to like take the stapler or drop some files on your desk right after that shit. Ronnie, if you don't get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, nigga, I'm the manager today, nigga. I'm running.
You see this shit right here?
Yeah.
You see this shit right here?
Kamala, what you talking about? That's literally black people like with colonizer and Kamala. That's the new shit, right? You do some fucked up shit, you a colonizer. And if I want to like call you something that would have otherwise got me fired, or would I just be like Kamala? Kamala. Take that. Oh, what did I do? Sorry, what did I try not to cry. I got really excited. You know, again, literally like we just won a basketball game. And, you know, I posted to Instagram and I'll tell you what I said. I said, all this time, what I heard was, and this is what I felt. This is literally the first thing I felt. All this time, what I heard was, I even had a white liberal tell me, I don't know why she ran and her campaign was terrible. This whole time I know her, I don't even know why she ran for president. And I was like, bitch, exclude the bitch, but you know, it was implied. She ran to lead. That's the same reason all them motherfuckers ran, because they thought they could lead. That's it. Fuck a platform. And that's what I said on Instagram. Which y'all tell us, every election ever is the most important election ever. And so, you know, you need to put all that blackness aside. You need to put all that anger aside. What you need to do is show up and vote for this ticket and vote for us and support us and trust us that eventually we'll get around and take care of you. But this is bigger than you. You got to be a part of the team. That's what y'all told us forever. That's what y'all told us this whole goddamn campaign when you ran the bitch off the trail before any of the black people got to vote. And you know what? Y'all niggas about to get led now because there's a person alive who thinks Joe Biden is going to make it 4 years. So do what you told us to do. Get in fucking line, period. Full stop. That's what we were supposed to do when it was going to be fucking Gretchen Whitmer or somebody who ain't got no goddamn business even being mentioned in this, along with Keisha Bottoms, but we'll get to that shit later. But no, if that's who it was, even Elizabeth Warren. I love Elizabeth Warren. I'm a Warren Democrat, right? I don't hold the fact she used to be a Republican against her. Apparently, you know, she's from a family of Republicans. They be fucked up like that. Take a long time to get out. Yep. But she was the best POTUS candidate. She was not the best VP candidate. That was Kamala Harris always. Kamala was going to always be on that ticket. So
I agree with that.
You told me who, you know, I thought it was Warren and Harris and then nobody else. It was literally, I said it from day one, it was only going to be one of those two. And no matter who it was, Kamala was going to be VP. And if this country got any goddamn sense, as soon as one of them old ass motherfuckers dies or retires on the Supreme Court, she will be the shortest lived VP in the history of the goddamn country. That's the smart thing. You want to get a white woman in the VP, put Kamala there for 3 months. Ruth Bader Ginsburg retires. Kamala goes to the Supreme Court. Elizabeth Warren walks into the office. Should be Stacey Abrams, but we'll take Elizabeth Warren. Okay? So again, like, if y'all want to think, that's how you should have thought. I thought all this at that moment, and I thought most important thing was, even if she don't get that Supreme Court, she in there now, and y'all told us, no matter who it was, remember all them tweets? I don't care who, the GP, I retweet this and agree with me. And you know, celebrities and shit bullying you about your vote, it don't matter who he picked, you better fucking vote for us, or bitch, fuck you. Yeah, but it's Kamala now, so where your tweets at?
Exactly.
Give them up. Where your votes at? Let me see them. Take a picture of them shits. Get in line, because you're not voting for Joe Biden. No. It don't matter who that VP was, that bitch was going to be president. You voting for Kamala Harris. And those speeches they did today, everybody was on Twitter, milk toast and shit. Oh my God. Joe
exactly.
Biden. And then as soon as Kamala came on, niggas was like, nah, that was, Joe Biden was the opening act.
Exactly.
Kamala, that's that motherfucker. So like I said, what I thought was what I said on Instagram. Y'all told us, no matter who it was, we were going to have to get in line talking specifically to the black people and the liberal people.
And the other thing I was happy about, first thing I started thinking about, I was like, hey, she going to destroy Mike Pence.
That's a fact.
I'm going to tell you something I'll tell you some crazy, again, second level thinking. Biden, knowing he ain't gonna make it through this shit, and knowing he ain't nowhere near the debater that Kamala Harris is, Trump is definitely going to have some rules about what the debates have to be like for him to participate. I would have one rule: we only do one debate. We tag team it. Now, you Kamala versus Pence. Imagine the look on Donald Trump's face if Biden was supposed to talk and he took his old wavering ass and sat the fuck down, and Kamala sauntered her little ski-wee ass up onto that stage. Nice and slow. That's what we need. We don't need her tearing Pence apart. We need her tearing both of their asses apart.
True. That's true.
We're gonna. Here's what that. Short of assassination, I'm gonna lead up. And all of these ideas gonna be not given here, and not with all due respect. They're gonna be as soon as the news breaks. I'm gonna call in the MSNBC. Nigga, you ain't have to schedule me. I had y'all on speed dial. Put a nigga on, and I'm gonna tell you what should go down, because we are bereft as liberals of ideas of how to control this shit. You understand what I'm saying? And how to lead, not how to. We can create a following and you know whatever, but all of that shit is centered around, you know, making liberal whiteness feel comfortable. And all I would do is tell liberal white people, you have never, literally not one time ever, accomplished anything in this country without the help of black people. Not one single time. So from now on, you do what the fuck we say. And until you get okay with that, you lose. We need to vote third party or something else until you realize literally the black vote is the only reason anything has ever happened in this country that since we got the ability to vote. That was liberal. And that's how you need to leverage that power. Being willing to lose to win is second order thinking. That's what your favorite team does. You know, Cleveland take their whole season to get LeBron James, and they got the greatest basketball player ever, and the damn team value tripled and all this other kind of shit. Like, you got your first title, yada, yada, yada. You got to be willing to lose to win, and you need to lose on principle. Not just lose in general, on principle.
Second greatest basketball player ever, but
greatest
No,
not even close. Not even close.
Not as long as Michael Jeffrey Jordan has breath.
Michael Jordan is hitting shots on Craig Elo. Craig Elo literally couldn't get in the rotation for a single basketball team in the NBA today. Facts.
Craig Elo sucks. Michael Jordan is the greatest.
Michael Jordan is celebrated for hitting a game-winning shot over a guy who literally could not play, even with injuries on the team, in any rotation in the entire NBA.
That is not Michael Jeffrey Jordan's fault that they had trash players.
And that was his fault. I'm not saying saying that that's a knock on him. What I'm saying is they have literally considered expanding the NBA court because the athleticism has changed so dramatically that a player like Anthony Davis can be standing directly under the basket, literally take 2 steps and block an appropriately elevated 3-point shot in 2 steps. That Wilt Chamberlain could not do that. That is a fact. That level of explosion and et cetera is just, people don't know, people don't actually stand on the court and see what it's like. But my point is to say, Michael Jordan didn't have to deal with any of that.
I agree.
At all.
Still think he's better.
He never played. I'm going to tell you something that you're going to think is blasphemous because people are stupid. But I promise you, if you look at the video, you're going to see this is real.
Okay.
Your boy, Michael Jordan, and J.R. Smith are almost identical athletes. And J.R. Smith is an incredibly small, less athletic player compared to LeBron James. I'm talking about their physical build and their, vertical, all that stuff. Very similar. And there is literally no comparison between J.R. Smith and LeBron James. Period. One more thing. Magic Johnson dominated the NBA. It literally took a disease that wrecked the entire world to stop Magic Johnson. It didn't take Michael Jordan. It took AIDS to stop Magic Johnson, HIV, to stop Magic Johnson from dominating the NBA, wait for it, without a jump shot.
Yes, that is true.
LeBron James would have eviscerated the NBA in the 80s and the 90s.
I'm going to clip out that part that you said about Michael Jordan and J.R. Smith, and I'm going to put that on social media so people can just hear that part.
People can say what they want. It's facts. Look, this whole thing about, no joke, I'm going to tell you, this is also goes to the anti-intellectualism. This is how people think. They really believe this, but you never heard anybody visualize it this way. They really think that's disrespectful because you didn't bake the mythology into what Michael Jordan can do. That's real. They think that literally, not figuratively. It's not fair to compare them apples to apples. You literally have to you have to include mythology in Michael, and it will always magically lift him above whatever the competition is. And that's literally the mythology.
Well, I will give you a counterpoint to that. Do you not think that mythology is being made about LeBron James now?
No, it's not, because it never happened. We're in this, again, he's the first intellectual best basketball player. There's never been a basketball player who was the best in the world who was also smart, let alone engaged. Not one. LeBron James has an eidetic memory. He literally, if you said, what happened in the third quarter? Look this up. It's on YouTube. LeBron be like, oh man, end of the third. The reporter be like, last 6 possessions of the third quarter was crazy. LeBron was like, yeah, man, we went down the court. I got a layup, and then they take it out and threw a full court. Kuzma cut it off, threw it back down, hit that corner three. It's my man D Green. D Green, he had missed like 5 threes in a row before that, but he hit that one. And then he got boom, 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 boom. And now he knows. At first he's just talking. Then he realized, oh, I'm showing off. Yeah, that's right.
I agree with that 100%. That's what I agree.
Half court. Now, Michael Jordan, would you trust that nigga to remember your dry cleaning? No, you would not. No, you would not.
Michael Jordan's mentality is fourth quarter, give me the ball.
Michael Jordan's
no matter what happens, I'm going to score.
Michael Jordan's mentality is, I'm playing against 80s athletes, and I'm a 90s athlete.
But to be fair, he played in the 90s. With 90s athletes. He played with Shaq and stuff like that.
No,
Shaq is a 90s athlete.
No, 90s athletes wiped him out. 90s athletes showed up at the end of the 90s. Shaq and them. This is the point. The NBA was in this like rut window for that time. And part of the reason is because so much of the talent of the league went to one team. Did you know Tony Kukoc literally did an identical free throw line dunk to Jordan's dunk in a slam dunk contest? Did you know that?
Did not know that. That I did not know.
Tony Kukoc.
They hated Tony Kukoc, by the way.
Tony Kukoc would have been a borderline Hall of Famer had he literally gone to any other team in the league.
Well, he was a Hall of Famer in his country, if I'm correct.
Yeah, he was the best basketball player to ever come out.
Ever. Yeah.
And again, that's what a slam dunk contest was on the front. But again, like this whole idea of that, he was the fucking sixth man. They had the Jordan replacement.
They had a squad.
They had Ron Harper to replace Jordan, and then somehow the league let them keep Ron Harper when Jordan came back. I don't know how. Again, that's no salary cap, but I don't even know how. Just fair play. How was that even possible? I honestly thought, well, because you didn't penalize them for Jordan's salary when he retired or whatever. So how did they retain the rights to him when he comes back? He should be able to go anywhere. And then he goes back to the same team, and then they just pay him $40 million, $30 million. This doesn't make any sense. There's entire starting fives that weren't making $30 million, and he got to make 30 on top of Harper's contract, on top of them getting Kukoc and et cetera. And they had Horace Grant. Did you know Dennis Rodman has the greatest correlation to winning in the history of basketball for any single player? Dennis Rodman. Now you didn't know that, but you're giving Jordan all this credit.
I was gonna say he does.
Rodman has the greatest statistical correlation to winning of any basketball player in the history of basketball. Every single where he went, they went through the roof in terms of efficiency, defensive quality, rebounding, etc. Michael Jordan, it's not just his great defense,
hustle.
And he was hyper efficient on offense because he didn't take bad shots. He was actually a great offensive player because he didn't take bad shots. People don't think about any of this correctly. And then you say, oh, everybody that was with him was so great, Dumars and Isaiah and all these people. You don't even mention, who's the one that's connected all these great championship teams? Dennis Rodman and Steve Kerr is another one. Highest three-point. He retired with the highest three-point percentage ever for any player in history. So again, if you play with the most efficient player with the highest correlation to winning in the history of the league, and you play with the guy with the greatest three-point percentage in the history of the league, and you can't take credit for that because you weren't known as a prolific passer, and he continued that percentage when he played at every other team he played at, and two of the game-winning shots you didn't hit. They were hit by Paxson and Kerr. So again, like at some point, and you had the greatest coach of all time. And you had an owner who had enough money to spend more money than multiple other teams in the league combined. And you had a league that was like desperate to stay. The NBA was still trying to get away from tape delay. They hadn't been on tape delay recently, but they were trying to put, distance between that. And it was like, you know what? We're gonna really lean into this. We're gonna give you the star treatment. Do you remember how much of a running joke it was that Michael Jordan couldn't foul out of basketball games, even if he tried? People forget that.
I remember that. I remember how people had a problem with the push-off.
Yes.
Literally was a foul.
Literally pushing people away. Yes. The continuation rule was put in place, literally, specifically for Michael Jordan.
Yes.
You ain't never seen nobody create no rules to help LeBron James. They don't even call foul. They call more fouls for Luka Doncic, who creates far less contact because he is a less dynamic player than they do for LeBron James. And the last thing I'm gonna tell you that's so crazy about this Michael Jordan situation is that people don't realize how they think. And I do, and it drives me crazy because they think something that is just objectively not true. You think Michael Jordan's the most beautiful athlete you ever noticed, you ever seen, and all that. Do you know why you think that, Delvin? And why everybody listening to this thinks that? It's because slow motion cinematography came to sports during the Bulls' run to the championship. That's why. Those end of the year recaps of the Bulls' run to the title had all of this slow motion footage in it that we had never seen like that before. And basketball is literally the best sport for that.
And also basketball commercials. He was really the first to really get all those commercials.
Yes, but commercials don't create mythology. Charles Barkley had commercials. Slow motion cinematography created that mythology. He was a smooth athlete and it was beautiful, but so was Scottie Pippen. He just didn't, he had a bigger nose and etc. So seriously, Scottie Pippen, he deserves serious consideration for an MVP in one of those finals. Dominique Wilkins won that slam dunk contest, and everybody knows that's true. That's disrespectful as fuck that he did not get that second slam dunk contest title, etc. So, like, we cheated people to literally cheat. Dominique Wilkins' thing is dunking. You cheated him and took that away from him to elevate this other dude, and then we want to lie about it later. Everybody's supposed to play along with it. And how can I be somebody that's going to tell you the real about politics, but I go along with your lies about sports?
I thought this episode was going to be controversial because of the politics. It is 100% going to be controversial because of the Jordan tape.
But me and him don't even consider this controversial.
It's not controversial. But hold on, one thing to say real quick, because when people hear you say that, they're going to be, yeah. Let me tell you something. If you actually got a bigger problem with me contradicting your mistaken thoughts about Michael Jordan, who ain't never done a goddamn thing for anybody who looks like you, then you have problems with the political side of this shit. Again, I tell you, you're part of the problem. But go ahead. Michael Jordan only cares that you care about him, so you buy his goddamn shoes. That's it. Republicans buy shoes too. He admitted he said that. All those years he lied and said he didn't say that. He lied and said he didn't say it all those years. And then just to get more eyeballs on a documentary, thinking short term, not doing second order thinking, he admitted he said that shit. That nigga don't give a fuck about you.
But guess what? His mom said, hey, won't you just say something? Come out here for this Democratic candidate. No, mom.
No. But who did come out? Who did come out and introduce you on the stage in Ohio? What's his name? What's his fucking name? LeBron James. Who has come out for every single woman doing anything in this world? You follow him on Twitter, Ilhan Omar, fucking Breonna Taylor, everybody, LeBron James.
I will say this. LeBron James is by far a better person than Michael Jordan is. 100%. And that's not even in the question. LeBron James is a role model.
To Atlantic City, just for the fuck of it, between playoff games that were not anywhere near Atlantic City. If you heard that LeBron James did some shit like that, you would literally never forgive him for that. And you shouldn't, because that is just disgraceful. That is not leadership, period, full stop. What if something happened to you? You know how much money people pay for those playoff tickets, man?
A lot.
That is just so goddamn disrespectful. And again, we talk about cancel culture, right? You want to cancel the dude that's saying the shit you don't want to hear. Like, first of all, you can't cancel you can't cancel people who don't give a fuck. I'm gonna hit you with that. That's deep.
Facts.
When your ex-girlfriend be like, nigga, I'm deleting you from my phone. And you like, bitch, I stopped giving a fuck 5 minutes ago. You can't hurt me. Shit, right? So, and by the way, women, I'm on your side. I just said that to be funny because I'm talking to two dudes, but most of my examples are actually how the dude is an asshole, not the woman. In my movies, all-star women. So just for the record. But you can't cancel a person who don't give a fuck. But that said, go ahead and cancel me. But just keep this in mind, in your own mind. I'm going to continue to rise, and you're going to miss the message. That's what's going on here. The message got to be consistent everywhere. By the way, first of all, it's literally not possible for Jordan to be a better player than LeBron. But let's say he was. You still ain't the GOAT. Because ain't the whole goddamn point that you a person too? Yeah. Part of the reason that people tell you that Wilt Chamberlain can't be the GOAT is because Wilt Chamberlain was out fucking women when Bill Russell was in his house studying the game plan. They literally tell you that. But that don't apply to Michael Jordan. That's what you've been sold, man. Now you selling it to yourself, and you mad at me because I won't go along. I'm going to tell you again, I live on the ocean because I didn't go along. I'm not doing that. Not ever. And I ain't going nowhere. You can cancel me, but your daughter and your lady going to know about me.
Tell your friends about me.
That's a Rush Hour reference for those of you who slipping on your pimping.
Oh, man. Man, this has been fun, guys.
You said has been, like past tense. I really honestly think we need to do like another 10 minutes so everybody else can talk.
You have anything to say, Chris?
I mean, I got a lot to say about LeBron in that argument. That's stats. I'm talking stats.
Facts. Which, by the way, stats are data. You can't dismiss data. Because you know what data is also? Data is our underrepresentation in every single office in this country. The only reason I engage the sports talk is to show you how the inequality. You know who, by the way, I'm going to tell you the realest shit you ever heard about sports. Do you know who chose Michael Jordan to be your hero?
He ain't my hero. I'm a Shaq fan.
Do you know who chose Michael Jordan to be your GOAT?
Who?
White man.
True.
You think they want you? Do you remember? Do you see how they doing the decision? The decision gave us player empowerment and player movement. By the way, the decision also made, I think it was $5.5 million for the YMCA.
This is what I said. Everybody criticized
in one night.
Yep.
Okay. Now, who told you that the decision was bad? Who cut to white people burning his jersey? Who did all of that? You think it was a single black person in that room pushing that button to cut the camera 6 to show you somebody burning this man's jersey? That's a threat, first of all. That ain't even respectful. That's like burning the flag. If you're a sports fan, you ain't supposed to do that shit. So again, the white man did that. The people who were in charge who didn't want you to be empowered or see empowerment did that. They told you not to like this man. All this man has ever done is be what you would have defined your hero as had you not been told what your hero already was.
I was a fan of the decision. He went to the Miami Heat. That's my team. So
that's making it subjective.
Whatsoever.
And the quality of it is, in fact, objective. It don't matter where he went. What he did was
legendary.
Empowerment.
What he did was legendary and set the standard for what players are doing now. And people, quote-unquote, white people are still complaining about it.
But it did more than that, though, because Maverick Carter wasn't a thing before that.
That's true.
Part of the setting up of that was he had his people involved. He elevated his people's, status, etc. Because people want to talk about, it was a this, it was a that. You know what else it was? It was well produced, especially for something that was put together at the last minute, etc. Like I said, the money that was made for the YMCA actually made it to the YMCA. And that elevated people like Maverick Carter. So now the most powerful individual single agent in the world is Maverick Carter.
Yeah.
There was literally no such thing as Maverick Carter on even a regional stage before the decision. So again, y'all living in a fucking world that is so uninformed that it causes me to look at you and say, you miss me with your stupid. You're not even my ex-girlfriend, because I wouldn't have given you the pleasure of having me in the first place.
Chris, do you have anything to say?
I'm going to say it's 73-9. Yeah, Jordan never played a team that was that good, ever.
By the way, 4 of the 5 most difficult teams played in the finals between those two were played by LeBron James. Facts.
Ever.
And LeBron beat them. And by the way, LeBron played the greatest game in the history of basketball to beat them again the next game, but J.R. Smith didn't know the goddamn score. 51 points on 4 Hall of Famers, nigga. 4
with KD.
Healthy. And by the way, he beat them in the 2015 finals by himself. The first game, they lost about 2 points because they missed every shot down the stretch. That's the game when both Kevin Love and Kyrie went out. He shut that shit down by himself. They lost in overtime. They lost in overtime. Game 2 was when he missed the 2 shots and they lost. Then game 3, they won game 2 and game 3.
They won game 2, yeah.
They won game 2 and game 3, went up 2-1 with no teammates. Dellavedova was the second best player. LeBron James was playing against Curry and Thompson, young Curry and Thompson and Green. When they had what's the boy, the Iguodala, but also they had Harrison Barnes.
Harrison Barnes, yeah.
It was another defender they could switch on to him. That is that finals performance was the greatest of all time until the next year when he lost, and then the next year when they brought him back, him and Kyrie averaged 30 a game. It's crazy.
No one has ever led.
And then
both teams in all categories.
Yeah, both teams in all major categories: points, rebounds, assists, and throughout the whole series. LeBron James. No, it's points, rebounds, assists, and blocks.
It was blocks too.
Yeah, and also again in that 2017 series with KD, 2018, 51 points, game 1, and he's standing there wide open, top of the key with the 3, waiting on JR to hit him so he can win the game. They lose it in overtime, his greatest game ever played. And then he goes in the locker room and breaks his hand on the whiteboard. If he hadn't broken his hand, he still finished with a triple-double average for that series, but they would have potentially taken a game or two, out of that series after that. But he, like I said, broke his hand. Again, let's not live in fantasy land. Michael Jordan told you, the flu game happened after I ate pizza during the goddamn finals. Nigga, what? How is this a joke? Do you know how much more superior of an athlete you have to be against everybody you're playing against to think, you know what I'm gonna do between game 5 and 6? Between game 4 and 5 when we're losing in the series? I'm gonna order some pizza. Bruh, you are not playing against athletes anywhere near this caliber. So I'm saying that, I'm hitting you with those facts to point out that these misconceptions were driven by a need to create profit and to create mythology that would reinforce, their power and their value and increase the value of their teams, etc. And Michael Jordan wasn't a woke athlete. So you literally just putting all this projection on somebody who doesn't care and doesn't do anything with that power except try to make money and try to brand themselves. When you turn yourself into a literal shape of an icon, but not an icon in the community, now who's the joke? See? You making a joke out of the community because the only thing that Jordan ever did for you is provide you with dope shoes that fall apart after 6 games. There's the other thing we forget about those old Jordans. Nobody actually played sports in those. You wore those to school. You didn't actually play in the shoes. I can wear LeBron James shoes on the court. Those soft-ass Jordans fell apart on my explosive feet. So we got sold idolatry and still holding it up over the real deal. Even if you want to say the other dude is the better player, if this person is the better man, that's the GOAT. Just like Bill Russell to Wilt Chamberlain. Like, again, let's get with it. Let's really actually be about this life if we're going to do this. Otherwise, let's just go ahead and die. Let's go and live in their prisons and do the stuff we're supposed to do.
Also, I'm going to say this. LeBron James has the most playoff buzzer beater
ever.
Game winners.
Shoots a higher percentage of game winners than Michael Jordan. He literally shoots better from every part of the court than Michael Jordan. Better from mid-range, better from 3, has more assists, less turn, everything. Literally everything. Everything. And it's just, again, but my thing is, I don't care what you think about basketball. What I care is, do you value that data? Because if you don't, you're not going to ever understand how Kamala Harris could rise through one system that is stratified in a way and set up in a way to hurt you and still be someone there to help you. Because the data says when she gets a vote, she never did any voting as an AD. She literally is only the person tasked with enforcing the laws as they currently exist. That's why she was the AG who called and told them to let those gay people get married. Kamala Harris did that. That's Kamala's voice on that call, on that historic phone call that went viral and everything. Everybody want to forget that because it was a black woman. If it was some white dude running for president later, you'd be seeing that shit all the goddamn time. So again, she did that because that was now the law, and she could do that. And it brings her damn near to tears to talk about having the privilege to do it. She wasn't voting with those actions. She was doing a job. And that job got her in a position to now be somebody who can lead and lead just like black voters vote. That's what her record actually says in the Senate. Black voters, most liberal voter. The black woman in Senate is the most liberal senator. Done and dusted. If you can't care about the Jordan data though, because I set this up earlier by talking about how the way we do one thing, we have a need to be consistent. So we're going to then create that structure everywhere, right? If we do only first order thinking and dealing with our kids, we're going to only apply that elsewhere. If you don't want to hear that Jordan is not what you wanted to think he was, if you don't want to hear that this thing isn't that thing and that thing isn't the thing that you thought it was, then you're going to look at Kamala and think she's only what the white man told me. Because I believe what the white man told me about Jordan. I believe what the people in charge told me about everything else. And, you know, they don't like her. They say I shouldn't trust her. And by the way, Kamala is a cop only caught on because of alliteration. It has a rhythm to it. And the word, there's an alliteration on the K sound. That's it. That is literally it.
Yes.
You're right. It doesn't make sense. It caught on because of alliteration. We like rhythmic things. We like rhyming. And it almost rhymes and it's rhythmic and it has alliteration. That's wordplay. We like that. That's literally the only reason that sticks in anyone's brain. Because by the way, it is literally illegal for the DA to be a cop. Mm-hmm. You might say the DA are close to the cops or whatever, but they're not the cops. That's literally not true. And we don't do none of that figurative shit to anybody else in power. So where the hell is the figurative shit and the illusion? Why is it on her? So again, we control this. We get ourselves right. Democracy goes where the black voters go because the black voters are the most consistent voters and the most liberal voters. So if we don't show up, by the way, let me dispel one more thing. Black voters in the last election, they talk about black people didn't show up. We voted at a higher percentage than white folks. This whole thing of like, and by the way, we have more voter suppression. If they got rid of voter suppression, we would literally vote 10, 15% more than white people.
Right.
Right now, it's only like 5, 6% more, but it would be way more than that if they got rid of that. So again, like this ain't on the self-hatred needs to stop. And that self-hatred produces more, inducing yourself into bad behavior. They treat us that way. And then I also hate on LeBron James. And what's going to happen is that man and the movement of him just existing in your life to entertain you is going to have passed you by and you will not have experienced it. Just like BLM is going to pass that same person by. And then to justify it, they got to say, it wasn't really that good. It wasn't really that real. It wasn't really for me in the first place. No, nigga, you just didn't wake up in time. So like, come for the person that gave you the facts. But then when I'm gone, who's left?
I think that's the perfect way to end this episode.
I got one thing to say. Something I saw earlier. Someone posted, they got pulled over by a cop, and the cop's a black cop. And the cop said, hey, man, you need to get this clip so that you don't have to reach for something. And I said, this is backwards ass thinking. What you need to do is tell your fucking racist ass cops not to shoot me when you ask me to reach for my license and registration. The cop actually told him to get a clip so that you know you reaching for. I'm like, bro, that's like telling a rape victim to dress differently. Like what the?
Yeah. The clip you're talking about is where you clip your it's like
First of all, that ain't even safe.
It makes it easier for people to steal your stuff.
Yeah, to have.
All you gotta do is just pop and reach and get it. But yeah, like again. But here's the thing: if you don't want to hear this or don't want to hear that, you can look at something like that and say, "Oh, I said the same thing to my friend." That's because that's your friend. See, that's okay. This man in a position of power saying this to somebody who is not supposed to be powerless. He's telling him you're powerless, and here's what you can do to live through it. That's wrong. But if you always in this sense of justifying your destruction, you're gonna just continue to be torn down. And so again, like I've lived this my whole life, being different, being smarter than everybody else, and being whatever. And all I ever got for it was negativity and ugliness. None of those people who was ugly to me can ever say I ever actually said or did something as ugly to them, but they felt ugly around me. And then they projected that onto me. And then they could be ugly to me because I'm now subjectified rather than objectified. And what's crazy is what they don't realize is if you're willing to do that to me, I already know, and it's already proven, that you do that to yourself. And so again, every time you hear or see something like that, all of it, everything, the mythology of this dude who ain't never stood up for the moment, just the fact that he don't stand up for you lets you know that he ain't the greatest. He is not. I guarantee you, if you could fly back in time to that time in the Jordan era, people might have had all those cameras on Jordan, but I promise you, the players respected somebody else more. I promise you there was somebody else in that league that was more of a leader, who wasn't disappearing on their team and, between games and doing all kinds of goofy ass shit and smoking and shit between the games and all this other kind of stuff that people actually respected as a goddamn human being. That's the person we need to be elevating in our community, not the people who tell us that we can be less than, but we can still get, as long as you just dribble the ball and shut up, you'll be rich. We'll make a little icon out of you. And by the way, also, keep your shit clipped up on that. That's the same person talking. You see what I'm saying? And so again, like, either you got two options. You don't get to choose your leaders. The leaders choose themselves. And then you decide whether to listen and follow or not, because you ain't a leader. I'm a lead and Chris is gonna lead. You can either listen or you can keep following the motherfuckers who gave you Michael Jordan and genuinely believe that the best, the best of your life, the best of basketball or whatever was in 1996. You know how many black senators we had in 1996? One, maybe. I don't even know if she was still in the Senate. Might have been zero. So again, like, everything moves forward. You want to stay in the past on basketball? It's like saying that Jackie Owens was the greatest sprinter ever. Nigga, what? Excuse me? I know your views on a lot of other shit is fucked up because of where you just came from with that. That is impossible. So, like, let's move forward in all things. If not, you're not going to be, the movement ain't going to be for you. And you can be left behind, by the way. It's not a thing of progress, rising tides lifts all boats. It don't fix all boats. So if you got a hole in your shit, that's just more water to take you down. Again, you know what that's called? Second order thinking.
It's perfect. Let them know to find you at, Chris.
Instagram at Chris Carthern. Twitter at Chris Carthern.
Spell it out for him.
CHRISCARTHERN.
Let them find you at, Tony.
At Tony Aaron II, TonyAaronii. I will not respond. Just let you know.
Wow, thank you.
That's actually not.
Hey, it's gonna be that one. She gonna be like, "But Tony, I thought you was."
And I'll be honest with you. I'm like, no, you don't really. No,
it just ain't what you want.
More beautiful a woman is, the more I know. More likely I know she is just move on from this situation. She don't need this. You know what I mean? All these other dudes just take the shit. They don't say nothing. She'll take less good sex and him being quiet from time to time before she'll put up with my ass for what I'm doing. So I am dedicated to being unhappy in service of the people who don't want to listen to me. At least for the time being.
Where can they find the movie when it comes out? Because we didn't even mention that you guys do movie.
Yeah, Triggers is on YouTube. Triggers 2020. You can just search for that. You'll find it on YouTube. It's on a YouTube channel, Mystery Dinner Studios. We're going to have a series called Beyond the Frame coming out soon. It's Beyond the Frame. Triggers is the first one, and it shows the making of. So if you want to get into movies, you want to understand how to make music for movies, how to score movies, or these types of things, we're going to introduce these concepts. And so through the making of each movie, we'll go into some different details about specifics about how to do things to make movies. The next movie after that is called Playa. In Spanish, playa means beach. And it was actually shot here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and in Puerto Aventuras, Mexico. And that movie's about it's a metaphorical take on immigration. It does not star all white people like Triggers, unfortunately, because that's about conservative politics and gun violence. And then that'll be coming out later this year. And then early next year, more than likely, we'll have another movie. We've already recorded these called Confessional, which is about sexual assault. And that will be coming out, like I said, early next spring. And there will also be a Beyond the Frame for each of those where we, like I said, talk through the details of how we made the movies.
Well, mentioning Confessional, it's also good to mention because Donald Trump said something about Kamala was very nasty to Judge Kavanaugh. And Confessional is really about sexual assault, which he was accused of. And we all saw how I know what you want to say.
Credibly accused.
Credibly accused.
Let's say it right. He was credibly.
We all believe
he is a sexual.
We all believe
Yes.
that he committed sexual assault.
100%. That is the entire premise of the movie. It's not. This is not a question of did he do it or did he not do it. We just take these national stories of sexual assault and we localize them and made them a local story, and we actually made the family of the sexual assault victim literally statistically represent the United States. So it's a mixed race family, or her inner circle. She has an Asian friend from school, and she has a black mom and a white dad, and it literally is it's a metaphor for the country and looking at how we are all participating knowingly, willingly, happily in rape culture every day.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I mean, again, I told you, this is not up for debate. It's not a question. I am going to lead. Chris Carthern is going to lead, period, full stop. I don't give a damn whether you like me or not. Kamala Harris in her speech today didn't say a damn word about whether any of y'all niggas liked her. I'm here now. I'm here. We're going to lead. We're already doing it. We didn't ask for your permission. We didn't even ask for your money. The question is, and this is the big lesson from the civil rights movement that nobody talks about. Civil rights movement failed. If you talk to Martin Luther King right now and you told him all we were going to get out of it was 2 bills, he'd have told you that's failure. Now, what didn't we learn? What was the real lesson? The lesson was not have somebody from the church, hypocritical church, lead people and all this kind of stuff. No, that wasn't the message. The message was, and what did they do? They spent the majority of their time teaching people how to follow. The message was, if you're not going to be a leader, which you're probably not, you're going to need to be a follower. And you know what we took from that? We vilified followers and all this kind of stuff since then. But that's all that marching was. That's all those videos from sitting in the church was. It's people sitting and listening and then going and doing what they were literally told to do after they left those meetings. Y'all need to learn to follow. You want to have a nice job. You want to have the nice lady. You want to raise your kids. That's all well and good. You do that. We're going to lead and you're going to follow. If you're not, you're going to continue to get what you've gotten, plus a little cinnamon on top to make you feel good. So, like I said, we're already doing the work, but this is like, the real talk isn't, hey, I'm a nice guy, please like me so I can, fuck that shit. That's noise. The real talk is, I'm here to lead. I'm going to lead just like we talk when nobody's listening. That's how I'm going to lead. And either you're going to follow or you're going to suffer, as you've been suffering. That's what we have to say.
Boom.
There we go. And we are out, folks. Peace.
Put some water on that mic, Tony.
Headphones.